Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript party. And I didn't bring Red out this morning. I don't know, just don't feel like it at the moment. I don't know why. But it is the 2nd of August, 2026. It is a Sunday. It is the morning time, so I still have things I have to get done today, but I do want to knock out this video really quick. So from 30,000 feet, I'm working on like two things at the moment. One is when we're in edit mode, by default, I'm maximizing the space that I can view everything in. But as you can see on this number 10, line number 10, we actually define exactly how it's supposed to look. It's supposed to be sitting at 0 and 0, and it's supposed to have a width of 200, a height of 200. So I think it would be very helpful during edit mode if you can see it as it's going to be rendered. But it can also be helpful during edit mode to see with the maximum amount of space that you have. So that is one issue. I think the other issue is a little easier to understand, and that's like right now, this is taking up 100% of the space that it can take up to show. What I would like is if I do this, it shows it in that configured view. So it would be like up is 0, 200, and the size that it's supposed to be. And then when it's this, it's in this view right here. Now this is supposed to like zoom the camera in by 100 or by a percentage. And I don't know if tens is going to work, but that's how we have it right now. Now, one of the things about this is with the um, hundreds and or with the zooming is that um, it's really strange thing, right? Like the in many ways the camera is part of the visualization. But in this point, the camera is the thing that's showing you what you're working on. It's just weird. It's got like this strange double identity that is weird to understand. Because we also may want to zoom as part of an animation or something like that. Ever since the latest OBS update, the camera has just become very jerky. And it used to be this would happen and I could restart OBS and then it would get smoother, but now, I don't know, whatever they've done has made it very laggy. The camera is definitely behind, um, at least showing me below here, behind what I'm saying. And then, um, and then sometimes it just sort of jerks forward. But anyways, I guess it's just the reality. Um, this is sort of a nuts and bolts kind of um, channel. I'm not trying to be entertaining. I'm trying to kind of just explain what I'm doing when I code. Okay. So anyway, so at this point we've taken the service, and it used to be a singleton globally scoped service, and we've made it a service that's only scoped to within here. So like these guys up here can't see anything from this service. Um, this service cannot communicate in any way. There's no way to make any sort of information travel from here to here or from here to here. Um, so, uh, that's just sort of one of those boundaries that I've created. So, anyways, when we created this and we brought it in as an app provider, that sort of identifies where this service is, where it's rooted out of. And so it's rooted out of our app update layout, which makes a lot of sense to me. So, and then we did get this piece working. So today, I think what I'm supposed to be working on is getting these like toggling. So it should never show both, right? Like if you're in full screen view, then you can go to configured view. If you're in configured view, you can go to full screen view. You never need both at the same time. So let's see what we have done so far. I need to be in my service. So if I look over here in my layouts, I see I have update layout. Then I also have inside of my layout, I have a services, and then we have we have some browser driven configs, and then these are user defined updates. And so right now we have our zoom value signals and we have it broken up into two of them. So we have a man, everything is so laggy on this computer right now. So under so we want to add a new user signals, and this I think is the sort of the best practice as of August 2nd, 2026, is to when you're going to create a signal inside of a service, you're going to want to create two things. And one is going to be like an internal signal because it's editable. So this is our, what is that called? I guess presentation mode. I'm just going to call it presentation mode. And I like to have the word signal in there. I know it is super redundant at this point. So like if you're doing like a unit test, I mean, if you're doing like a PR and you're looking at this code, you're like, I can see it's a signal. I can see based on this, like it's very, very redundant. Okay, so we want to actually have, so let me comment this out since this is what we're working on at the moment. But before that, I do want to set up my an interface, and the interface is going to say it's just going to have the two possible modes, and I always do that because it's just so much easier in when you're working on other parts of the thing. Now, I think that this interface should be very, very specific to um, this app layout, but I don't think it is specific enough to be in the service. So that's kind of a bummer. So that means I need to create like an interfaces um, folder with app update layout interfaces. So I always like to do that. Let me close everything else right now. I always like to do that in from my packages. So close others, and then and then and then we want to find an interface. So it looks like we created one here, and then so it's going to be something kind of like this, right? So, and it's like this is like so easy and so hard at the same time. I don't understand why, but so this is going to be an up app update settings interface. And I guess I don't need that. So over here, we're going to put it inside of, I believe it starts at components. So we're creating this, and it's a shame that you can't put the trailing commas in there. Okay, so components, and then inside of components, we want it in layouts. And then inside of layouts, we want it in app update layout. And then inside of update layout, we want it inside of a folder called interfaces, which does not exist at this point. And then we're all at settings. Update settings. I think that's what I want. And so I think what's going to happen is a new folder will show up next to service between app update layout viewer and services. And I think it'll be called update dash settings will be the name of the file. And I don't know what the thing it's gonna create on the inside. I never use those anyways. I always end up just overriding whatever it generates in there. But npm, oh, we need to go into the right folder though. cd spacetime npm run I app update settings. And I don't know. I think it's still, oh, it's still working. I'm hoping that a new folder shows up here. If not, we'll have to delete whatever it does and tweak this and then get back to where we're at. I can't believe how long this has taken them. This doesn't quite look right now that I look at it though, because I don't have, oh, yeah, it created a whole new, I don't even have that folder. All right, so let's delete that because it pulled it in down here. And that's supposed to be app dash update. So that little helper thing did not help me. Um, dash layout. This is another reason I like doing this because I get kind of confused when I try to, a lot of times when I try to like write something like that, and then you get like this sort of disconnect between, um, like, oh, we were doing camel case and now we're doing, it's just easy to kind of merge all those things together in your brain. So now again, I'm hoping for the interfaces. Yep. Okay. So that showed up in the right places. And I cannot even tell you how many times I've like done PRs and then been like, wait, why is this weird interfaces and some like that's something you really have to watch out for in PRs is that they put it. Okay. So I like that name and then interface. And this is, I guess, update, um, update view. Is it, what did I name it over here? Presentation. And these are modes, I guess. And basically, and this isn't actually an interface. I don't know why I like to name everything interfaces, but this is actually a type. But I think eventually we'll have an interface in here. Um, and this is equal to, and it's one of two choices. It could be configured or it could be maximized. And so these are the two choices, configured or maximized, and they are our update presentation modes. And so we can come back over here now and we can say that this has to be an update presentation mode. Now we're going to have to import it, but it should help us with that. So this will limit this value to only being allowed to be a either configured or maximized. And by default, we want it to be maximized. So when you first come in, it's going to be maximized unless you change it to configured. Well, I guess it'll be maximized, period, when you first come in. Now, I don't know if it's probably, so we could run into problems, I guess, if we decide, no, we don't, because one thing architecturally that benefits us, oh, interesting. So that's why you end up, so a lot of times you destroy entire, like in different views, you destroy the old view, but this one I think I'm just hiding them. So the update page is there, it's just hidden. So that means I will be able to maintain um, continuity when you leave and come back to update, I think. But that is probably would be the main reason why you'd want to have that as a singleton as opposed to inside of this um, component. Never really thought of that before. That's a learning thing. All right, so we're going to make a presentation signal. There's so many things to think about um, when you're thinking through things like that, like scoping and stuff. But the one piece of puzzle that I was not thinking about is that, oh man, if this thing comes in and out of view, we're going to end up with we end up deleting and recreating it, we're end up having to like where if the user leaves and then they got to put it back into the view that they had. And maybe that's not even, I don't even know. Maybe that's not even an issue. Maybe that will be fine for it to be that way. But anyway, so now we know this. So now we kind of just followed the pattern and we have these two. And now we're going to have our setter. We know we're going to end up wanting to set things, and we know that it just toggles. So it's just going to take whatever it is and make it make it the opposite. So we're just going to call this toggle presentation view. Now we might want to actually set the presentation view based on what's put in, so that if it for some reason were to get, I think I'm going to go with toggle. And honestly, I think if I was doing this for a job, I would not do it as toggle. I would have it something I set, but I actually want to see if something gets wonky by making it toggle. Because if I can make it toggle, it's easier to maintain. But it is possible that I might want to reset it, and if I set it to the same thing, I don't want it to really fire again. And if it's or maybe I do, I don't know. We'll see. Um, so toggle presentation. I guess I'm calling them presentation modes. And this is exactly what happens a lot. Is you end up like slowly but surely um, drifting, right? Like your name as you do stuff, the things you enjoy doing get more and more interesting. I guess is interesting is not the right word, but like you get better and better, but you got to make sure you keep circling back and updating everything. And you might even come up with like different words. So like at some point we might say, "Oh, mode isn't right. It's setting, presentation setting." And then we got to go and fix that everywhere because if you don't, it gets very, very confusing. But so we know we're going to get a mode, I call it, and um, maybe even call it a presentation mode. This one, I think, you could easily argue that it doesn't really make sense to um, name it presentation mode. It's very obvious that we're toggling the presentation because um, it's very obvious that we're updating the presentation mode. So like, in context, you're never going to be, I don't think, working on this code where you don't realize what you're working with is presentation modes. Not only that, but anything that's named toggle tends to be very, very short. So because it is possible that like maybe if you're down, way down deep in one of these things, you're, oh, don't I have another signal I'm publishing? I like that. I like that little bullhorn. So here, anytime we see that dot set, we're publishing. Thought we were already setting the zoom, right? Yeah, there we go. There we go. Publish signal. And so publishing a signal, and we are updating the presentation mode. And so this dot update, is it presentation mode? Presentation mode signal dot set. Okay, what am I doing wrong here? Oh, underscore presentation score signal. And we're going to set it to whatever we got. Actually, it's a toggle. So So we don't have to send in everything in. Really what we want to do is get rid of this, Control X, and we want to get our presentation mode. Equals this dot. All right. No, that's right. Okay, what am I doing wrong here? All right, presentation. Okay, am I spelling it wrong? I must be spelling it wrong, right? Oh, no. Well, at this point, I'm not returning anything. I don't know why it's winding down here, though. Publish signal, and then I'm going to say if. Oh, because I'm not setting it at anything. This is going to be a const. Oh Lord. So if presentation mode, and I'm always like, I don't know. At this point, I'm thinking that it might make sense to, like every time you create like a little set of types, that you also create a constant that is the list of the types. Um, okay. So if it's configured, we want to set it to this. Now, to me, this is, I always like doing like toggles like this. Because just in my personal experience, I've been doing them for decades now. And anytime you can get away with just a toggle instead of like where you're bopping back and forth, whatever the opposite is, for some reason, all the other code around it just becomes um, so simple, so much easier. Dot configured, and then return, and okay, first of all, it's like that. So we're getting the finished one, and then we return the finished one. And I don't even know. Like, I think this feels right. I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience with this specific thing, but it seems like this is the way to go. So now, so now we should be able to toggle the presentation mode whenever that gets called. And so now we want to come in here. And in our template, we just want to be able to say toggle presentation mode. And literally, it's fine. It doesn't even care, right? We can just say click. Like, I don't have to even care what the current presentation mode is. I don't have to try to even think about it. Toggle presentation mode. And I actually, we can even go straight to the update layout service, right? App, right? So now my I think this is my argument. This is my prayer, is that my presentation mode now never even has to worry about um, knowing anything about how things are. Like this component doesn't have to know anything about that. And I think I can say like um, I kind of want to just hide these because making these matte icons appear and disappear can be problematic. But for now, I'm just going to do this. If I in the future, if it becomes a problem, like if I'm just going back and forth and toggling back and forth thousands and thousands of times, I don't think that will be a problem. But it could be that like if you keep toggling back and forth between presentation mode and not presentation mode, you can be creating those, like it's just an Angular material issue that they just seem to leave these stranded DOM elements that the JavaScript can't get a hold to. I can't remember what they're called, but the and if that's a problem, but these little icons should not be an issue. Um, but um, oh yeah, but you don't do it that way in these. I almost want to just add a CSS and handle this via CSS. So it's just like, yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to say, um, I think it's like this, ng class equals, and then you give it like a thing. So it's going to be like, I think you give it like you give it like a value. So this would be the class that'll, this has never been super comfortable for me. I don't know why. And, and then what is this? Uh, what are the two choices? It could be configured. All right, what am I doing wrong? I can, like I said, I can never get this quite right on the first time. I think, okay, so let's just try, because I do want to figure this. I want to get better at this. True. Okay, so that is not right. What am I doing wrong? Is it supposed to be the other way around? I don't think it's supposed to be there. Okay, what is the complaint? Let's see, before I ask ChatGPT. Okay, so net ng class is not, maybe I wanted to, I don't think you can do class though. Um, so I think that I can, if I bring in something called commons, that'll work. But I don't know what the ideal way to do this is. Um, there might be like a better way to do that, and this is the perfect time to learn that. So now, ChatGPT. So in my Angular 20, Angular 22 project, this code. The transpiler doesn't like it. The IDE doesn't like it. Okay, so I'm sure I did something very small. Okay, so yeah, I could pull it in with this commons module, or I could, I guess, get it directly. But I'm wondering, is there? Yeah, I don't want to do that. Oh, class hidden is equal to true is equal to hidden. Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty sure adding commons module will fix it. Is there another? Is there another way? Like is there a more modern way? Okay, so looks like what I want to do is, so really what I want is something like this. And then we want that to be equal to equals and like that. What was it? Configured. I don't really care if it's right or wrong at this point in time. So if I do that, it's going to complain about the build, and then I supposedly can bring in, and this is not what I want to do in the final thing, but comments. Because I like that hidden thing better, but let's go to this. Okay, so now it's happy, right? And it's because I needed to pull that in. But I think that class.hidden might be better to this. But so it's transpiling, so it should hide in some circumstance, I'm guessing. Although it is completely broken. Oh no, it's not. It's just, oh, maybe it is completely broken. Oh, how weird. All right, so I don't know. For some reason it's breaking this. So, and I don't know why. Let's actually look in the console log because we might be able to learn from something from that. Like learn, not like, okay, yeah. So here's our problem. Is very upset with the write a signal not allowed. Oh, while rendering the and oh, oh my gosh, that was the wrong one anyways. That is hilarious. Okay, that is crazy. So I was trying to write the signal. That was crazy. And it's going to be an underscore. Oh, no, it's not an underscore. It's a dot. Okay, why is it not finding my new? Okay, I'm trying to find my service. Not my interface, but my service. There you are. And then we want this guy. Presentation mode signal. And now I want to hit the back button up here. And do this, Control V. And run. There we go. Now we got a happy camper. Add viz. Oh, that's crazy. Is it still broken? It's probably still building. Still building? No. Add viz. Go to this view. This view. Okay, that's happy. Um, this is going to toggle it, so it's not working. Well, actually, it might be working because all we're doing is adding the class. We're not actually. Oh, no, it's not working. This is old, though. That's old. We're not writing a signal anymore. Or maybe we were. Let's reload. It should. Yeah, see, we're in some really old. Something weird's happening. Let's kill this one. Make it get us a fresh one. It says it's built, right? So that's weird. Add viz, boom, update. And then let's look at here to see if we have weird console log errors already or not. Because we know we get them. All right. So it doesn't like that. It didn't mind that. So now let's do this. Okay. So now what I think I can do is look in here, and I'm hoping that at some point this mat icon gets a new class called hidden. Yep, and it does. It has the class hidden. So now I'm hoping that if I click this again and then I go back, yeah, and see now it doesn't have the class of hidden anymore. All right. Okay, so this works, but I think that class dot hidden might be a better cleaner way to do that. And okay, so this is working. But can I improve it with class dot hidden? Yeah. Yep, I agree. This is so much better. This is so much better than that. Um, I think. I don't know. I'm not 100. Okay, I'm not speaking from experience of doing it this way, but I can tell you that this NG class gets way out of hand very quickly, especially if you need to do more than two or three. Can be very difficult to read. Whereas I think that is just clear as day. So now if I wanted a different class, I can just say class dot whatever. And this is like one of those things where like it's so much easier just to um, okay, so we should hide this if it's maximized, right? And then we should show that. So normally thinking through that is just for me easier just to do maximized. There you go. And now we need to create a hidden class. And that is just for this toolbar at this point in time. Maybe it probably would make sense just to make a general hidden class, but display to none. All right. Now, let's go back over here. So we only see one, and so we have it backwards, right? Because by default, it's maximized. Probably would help to, for just in the short term, come in here and say, but it's probably faster. I mean, we can be pretty sure that configured is the right word. And then maximized. So right now it's measured, and this would be to toggle to configured. Now we want to toggle to maximized. Okay, so that's working perfectly. All right, so that's good. I think that's good enough for today. What is the next thing to work on? Oh, I guess the next thing to work on is unit test, right? Because I think this is all working the way I wanted it. It's hiding, toggling. Yeah, it's all working. So next are unit tests. I don't think sometimes I like to compile, like if it's a really big thing at this point in time, I'll want to compile or not compile. I'll want to commit this stuff because, I don't want to lose it. I have it working and all that, but I don't think that I'm not that worried about it. I feel like there's not anything too difficult here. Oh well, so we're done with this one. Add view signal. Ooh, I like these little finish line things. And I want one of these, so let me do this. Um, 100% unit test coverage. I don't think that's gonna be very hard. And then add unit tests. I mean E2E tests, Cypress tests. Now it's funny because that's in a different repo now, Cypress tests. And then, oop. Actually, so I have another one where, yeah, this is interesting. Okay, so I am slowly in my different projects coming up with like different ways of doing things. So I have a different project where I think all my other projects, the green ones are the ones I've completed, the purple ones what I'm working on. Um, but I like this little finish line for this little finish thing for finished ones in green for the ones that I still need to work on, and then purple for the one I have worked on. I don't know, just a way to keep myself motivated. Anyways, happy coding, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.